Welcome everybody back to the Thought Void podcast. It is me, Eston, and I'm here with Evan.
Yeah, we're down one member for this episode this week because Vance is a very busy man, so
Because he doesn't
we're
love
taking the
us.
reins. That's really it. That's the true answer.
It's because he thinks there are other things in this world more important than this podcast.
Yeah, like money and having a life.
That's I honestly think it's just because he's a non-believer.
I think that's the truth. That we're getting down to the real thing.
So, if he was here, you know, it'd be it'd be a full episode, but it's not. He just doesn't like us anymore.
Oh no, we're still gonna have a great
Yeah,
episode,
it's
and
gonna be
we
great.
got some spooky, awesome things to talk about.
Um,
We're getting into some World War II times. Gonna talk about this new topic that I found um that Esden's gonna kind of introduce us into. So why don't you take the reins, Esden?
um, so first I want to say that if you're triggered by pretty much anything, the topic that we're going to be discussing is extremely dark and has a lot of things that might people might find disturbing or offensive, including all kinds of abuse and extreme torture. So if that's not something you feel like you can handle, don't listen to this episode. Um, this is the viewer slash listener discretion is advised. Um, but with that out of the way, we hope you enjoy and thank you for listening. The void is a pretty dark place, and if you look long enough, you'll certainly find something worth leaving alone. And Unit 731 is nothing short of something that sends shivers down the spine and casts shadows over history. It serves as a reminder of intense human cruelty and how dark the depths of the void can really be. So, like we said, like Evan said, he wanted to talk about Unit 731, and Unit 731 was kind of well, to the public eye, it was a research facility um, for different it was known to the public as a epidemic prevention and water supply unit of the
Yeah,
military.
basically started off as like a good thing. Like they were trying to actually help people,
Hmm.
but then shit kind of hits the fan.
Yeah. So after World War One, the use of biological warfare and chemical warfare was banned by the Geneva Convention. But at the time, Imperial Japan was kind of had this mentality of that they were better than everybody.
Yeah,
And
they thought they had like a claim to everything and just thought they were
mm,
going to be the next Axis power basically. Well, they were one of the Axis powers. They
yeah,
they just thought they were going to rule the world with Germany and just fucking have their mighty empire of Japan, which is really crazy to think about given what Japan is today.
it is kind of crazy to think about, like, not to shit on Japan, but like the stuff we're going to is so dark. And then if you look at Japan today, it seems like everything is a like super like anime and super like, you know,
It's super
plushy and
like fun
soft
and
and
I mean
bubbly.
there's
I
still
mean, there's still
dark
dark
shit.
stuff, but like nobody, when you think of Japan nowadays, you don't think of like, people dying and people
No,
being
I
tested
think of
on.
Mount Fuji and Shiba Inus and samurais and big anime titties.
Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Or,
that's like my first thought every time I think of Japan. I'm like, damn, we really did that.
no, I think about the fucking Ramen sodas and all their
Ramen
fucking
sodas.
no ramen. It's different, different thing. It's like a
It's
very
not.
good. It's not ramen noodle flavored. It
I
doesn't
kind of want
taste
to
like
see
a
if they
meat.
have ramen noodle soda.
Oh God, I hope this is not a thing.
Nope, nope. Hold
I
on.
know Jones makes like turkey dinner sodas and shit. There's all sorts of wacky ass sodas, and
Turkey
I'm
dinner.
sure,
So is it just like gravy?
yeah, it just tastes like I haven't tried it. I tried their what was it? Their Christmas sugar cookie, and that was disgusting. It
Oh,
was bad, dude. But
I don't think it's a thing. The ramen
pro
noodle flavored.
Well, hey, there's an opening in the market then, Esdin. We
We
can
can
do
do it.
this.
Oh, well, no, I don't think that's no, that's watermelon. We can make, you think we could, if you took, okay, you know how you can buy those like carbonating machines? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you make like your own soda at home?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What if you made ramen noodles and then just strained it? Like, you cook up the noodles with the water and then put your seasonings in it, and then you strained it to a cup and then you just carbonated it. That would be ramen noodle soda.
I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna do ramen noodle soda, right, it can't just that just feels like the essence of ramen noodles. Like ramen noodles is more than just the liquid flavor
Mm.
that's in the bottom. I feel like you gotta have some
Some
noodle
chunk is in
flavor.
there.
You
Yeah.
gotta have some fishy bits.
Fishy
Like,
bits.
yeah,
Well, I
because you
guess it
put
depends on like the flavor. Like if you have a shrimp flavored ramen noodle soda, you got to have shrimp in there.
well, have you ever had like good ramen? Like
Yeah.
ramen that has like the fucking sliced up fish, or what is it? It's like sashimi. No, it's not
There's
sashimi,
some
but
there's this really good ramen place near where I live, and we go there all the time. And like real ramen, not like the 89-cent ramen, bussin'.
oh, it's completely night and day difference. Like it's to be expected though. I feel like anything that's microwaved and
90
easily
cent.
made, yeah,
See, right
it's
here,
gonna be
this
shit.
pork flavored ramen is 30 cents. Like
God damn it,
tell me what that is really made out of.
babies.
So basically, we're talking about how people in Japan turned other people into ramen noodles.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what
That's
you
our whole
buy at
episode.
Walmart.
Yeah. So stop eating ramen because you're
Don't eat
eating
ramen.
babies.
It's just babies turned
It's
into
facts.
noodles. They just dehydrate them and then put them through a big grater.
It's ramens and dolphins.
Ramens and dolphins
Yeah, they and sharks. They kill a lot of sharks and dolphins.
to make ramen noodles.
No, no, just in general. Like they're Japan and Asian countries in general are the biggest murderers of sharks and just aquatic life in general.
Do you think it's because they eat a lot of like raw shit over there?
Yeah, it's because they have the biggest market and they sell it to everybody. They literally had an entire economy built around fishing. So it's so deep rooted in their culture that it's just gotten out of hand and it's just so industrialized now that it's just fucked. And continuing on the fuck note of horrible
Yeah,
things that Japan has done, why don't you tell us a little more about
yeah. We'll keep going.
Unit 731?
So, um, with this idea of we're better than everybody mentality that Imperial Japan had at the time, they started a research lab and different facilities to test biochemical warfare because they were under the impression that if they don't, somebody like the United States or another power will get ahead of them and then use it against them.
Yeah, they basically were trying to get ahead of the curve
Yep.
and become more advanced until before something was going to get used against them. They were they had the mentality that we're the smartest. Look at how industrialized we have become
Mhm.
because before World War II, Japan was still and they still had like samurais and shit, like straight up. There were still samurais and still like almost not necessarily like middle ages, but it was so drastically different. But then once World War II kicked in, they got this like engineering mentality and they started designing badass airplanes like the Zero plane and so many
Dude,
amazing technological advancements that pushed them to be what they are today.
you know what's crazy to think about? Imagine if they like during the first little bit of World War II, they pull up to like the trenches and you look over the edge and all you see is like an army of samurai just like sprinting over no man's land.
Dude, that's
It would
what
actually be kind
literally
of
happened.
terrifying.
Yeah, some of those fuckers had swords. Like straight up, Japanese people went to battle with swords, and you could just like get fucking chopped up. I'm sure there's a couple of soldiers that wore armor from their families to like honor their family.
That would be nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? I think I saw a video a long time ago, and call me out if this is bullshit, where they like the Japanese made armor out of paper, but like it was folded
Um.
in such a way and it was a certain kind of paper that it was like bulletproof to a degree. And that's what they
E-
wore underneath their like big armor.
I think you're right. I believe there's a Mythbusters episode. It's just
Yes.
basically how the paper is layered. It's not it's not bulletproof to like our standards, but it could take a bullet of that time
Yeah, yeah.
and protect you.
Isn't that
Like,
nuts?
oh yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's just because it's like how Kevlar works. It's how you layer the material and how it
Mm,
like binds together. It creates like a support structure underneath. It's really cool.
yeah. Dude, but that dude, I think honestly, I would want to be like I think it'd be so cool to like I mean not go to war, but like if you came home from like World War II and you were wounded and you lived and you're like, yeah, this scar's from a samurai that I fought.
That'd
That would
be
be like the coolest
that'd be
fucking
pretty
shit,
cool.
dude.
Yeah, I it would also probably traumatize you for the rest of your life
You would
because
probably
you
never trust
would
any like you would be
yeah
fucked forever. Like
yeah
mentally you would be not good.
you go to the mall with your with your grandkids and see the fucking store where they sell all the
The
samurai swords and you get fucking
you
triggered and you're
triggered and
like,
start
oh
like
my god.
jumping over shit and like
Yeah,
barricading the doors and everything.
yeah, you just fucking duck and dive like start getting to the shakes.
Oh shit. Well, with that kind of out of the way, do you want to kind of go into
Yeah,
a little more detail about like how it started and stuff like that?
so I'm going to give kind of a brief overview. Oh, not a brief overview. Esdin kind of gave us our introduction to Unit 731. I'm going to dig more into the people that were responsible and kind of what their story was and what happened to them and how everything kind of transpired during the war and after the war. So I'll
Before
start
you get
off.
started, I just want to say I think it's so fucking bizarre that like so many people just let this happen.
Well, you got to think about during war times, the only thought in anyone's mind, it's you look at Americans during wartime. We have a complete different mentality. Not everybody has the same ideology, but when we make someone a bad guy, that our
Hmm.
only goal as a society is to destroy that bad guy because it's so deep rooted in our societies, like in Europe and in the US and in China and in Japan and all these big massive powers. They have a what is the word, nationalism. There we go. They have nationalism for their country and they can justify just about anything and can sweep things under the rug in the name of progress, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's kind of like the end justifies the means kind of thing.
Exactly. It's the same shit that happened on the American side when we started taking Nazis over during World War or after World War II to start our
To
rocket programs.
yeah, to help with our shit.
Yep.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, because especially back in World War II, a lot of like war crimes and stuff were responsible because of the enemy was like dehumanized so aggressively, you
Oh,
know?
big time. That's part of our vilifying attitude towards these people. And these people are innocent human beings who are being forced by their government to go fight a bloody war defending something that they might not believe in and they're forced to or they're coerced into by being told this will bring your family honor, this will give you money, this will set you up for your life or your afterlife or whatever. Like that's a big deep seated thing in these Asian cultures, especially in Japanese culture, that's like you have to have honor and you have to basically be good for your family and have a good image even after death. So it's I'm sure there was some coercing in this unit 731 basically justifying that on a spiritual level to these people and they were basically like, well, if we protect Japan, then that's we're doing what is right. We're doing what a Japanese person is supposed to do.
And then also I feel like a lot of it too could be explained with like threats in a way that like if you don't do this, we'll do what we're doing to your family. Does that
That's
make
true.
sense?
That
Like you have to
also
go through
plays a
with these
part.
horrible things or your family will be, taken to a labor camp or experimented on and stuff.
Yeah. I feel like that was more Nazis that did that kind of shit, but
Well, I'm just
um
talking like in general
oh
when
in
it comes to like
general, oh
war.
yeah. Yeah. War is just awful and it brings out the worst in humanity. It
War.
always will. War never
War
changes.
never changes.
We're not
Hey,
sponsored by Fallout, but go watch the new Fallout show. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. It's a great depiction of the video games. But
oh, dude.
anyhow, I'm not going to talk video games for too long. I want to get into Unit
Yeah.
731. So we're going to start our story off. So Unit 731 was located in Harbin, China.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. Unit 731 was located in Harbin, China, and was created with legitimate intentions by the Japanese government. It started off as an agency to promote public health, and Unit 731 was meant to conduct research that would benefit Japanese soldiers, such as learning the ways in which the human body can withstand hunger and thirst and kind of fight off diseases. It's all good things that they were
Yeah.
trying to how can we better our people? We're struggling. We're getting fucking decimated by these Americans, and they're using guerrilla tactics to fucking survive out here. So they're trying to use their knowledge to help their people.
And it's like,
So
oh yeah, like it was kind of under like this blanket of like we are doing this for the greater good kind of thing.
exactly, that's the whole thing behind this. Early experiments were conducted on volunteers who had signed consent waivers giving personal permission. However, as the war intensified, they changed their methods, which for some reason war tends to bring out some of humanity's most animalistic sides and truly shows the destruction of war and how it not only leads to the death of so many people, but how it can turn a man on another man in the fight for survival at all costs.
I mean, war, especially like back in World War II, it was so brutal that I feel like even if you didn't support it and you were drafted or something, just like in any country, when you're in like those situations, I don't really feel like people think logically or morally anymore
No, it's
because
it's
it's all
literally
just you have to try to survive. It's not really I've never been to war, obviously, but like I feel like it comes to a point where it's like I don't give a shit what happens as long as I live through this. You
yeah,
know what I
I've
mean?
watched shows on survivors of wars and how it affects the human psyche. Like it literally turns on your monkey brain and you have no moral compass. It's literally fight or flight. And that
Yeah.
happens to some people, and there are good soldiers out there who really want to do what's right and have done good things, but all in all, war is evil, and there are people who thrive in these environments and can do some of the most heinous things ever imagined. So it's fucked, dude. Just
Lot of fuckery. It's
exactly.
not like Call of Duty, guys. Like,
No, it is not all fun and zombies and fucking shooting ray guns. It's not as exciting.
unless you're the Nazis,
Yeah, unless you're the Nazis. For
which
the
we can go.
Japanese,
Yeah,
it was a
they didn't
lot
have ray
darker.
guns.
No, Japanese, they just had fucking what was the fucking no, that was the Vietnam map. What wonder weapon was on the Vietnam map? I forgot that.
So Wonder Waffle.
That was a Wonder Waffle? Yeah, they had a
Yeah,
Wonder Waffle.
they had a Wonder Waffle. Well, I feel like that's still German. I think
Well, yeah, well they're together. The Axis powers are all joined together. So
that's
they
fair. That's fair.
the Japanese, the Germans, they were kind of the same thing for a little while to some extent. The Japanese were basically told, "Hey, do whatever the fuck you want during World War II. We don't really care as long as you side with us." And fucking Japan was like, "Yeah, Germany, we're down with that. We love Hitler. Let's do this." So, like Esdin was saying, in 1925, the Geneva Accords had banned the use of biological chemical weapons in warfare. The Japanese nevertheless still wanted to prepare for these types of that type of warfare. As these types of experiments were naturally ones that most people would not volunteer to take part in, the Japanese decided to use prisoners of war as their test subjects. Unit 731's victims were primarily Chinese and Russians, along with some Mongolians and Koreans. And the leader of the unit was Lieutenant General Shiro Ishii, along with the other scientists he recruited. They experimented by infecting test subjects with different types of diseases to see how their bodies would respond to pathogens. As the Japanese destroyed most of the unit's records at the end of the war, little is known about the scientists who worked there. This is also common with the German experimentation. We don't know why either. It's either from guilt or just the trauma of doing such violent, evil things to other human beings. All these records are lost to history.
Do you think it was like which one? Like, do you think it was guilt, or do you think it like these people were like actually truly evil that they were? it was just kind of like it was like a selfish, I don't want to get caught kind of thing.
I think it's kind of all of the above. It's a lot of people kind of pushed all this, and I'm sure there were people who were against it, but they were too afraid or felt like they were doing the right thing at the right time, and it clouded their judgment. I feel like that's definitely played a part in a lot of this and a lot of our atrocities. And like I said, the animalistic survival instinct kicks in, and they think what I'm doing is right. They justify it in their own brain and make it make sense to them.
Like a lot of it has to do kind of with like brainwashing and stuff.
Oh, big time, dude. War is literally built on brainwashing.
A
And
lot of propaganda type shit.
yeah, it like one of the best analogies I like to use is especially in America, we are a product to our countries, whether it's a
Hmm.
consumer or a soldier. We have to be sold on the idea to buy things or to fight a war. We have to basically make it seem like it's our own idea that we want to fight wars.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like how you control people is making them feel like they want what it's kind of what's that saying? It's like the best way to imprison somebody is to make them want the prison. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah,
It's kind of
that's
like that. Like you have to,
you got to
I
sell them
mean,
on it.
yeah,
It's a
you have
big
to
thing, dude.
like really push that the enemies or the people that you're doing these things to are not people.
Yeah.
They are animals and they're less than you and like they're subpar and all that. And I think that kind of
I mean,
um
fuck, look at how the Americans depicted the Japanese and the Germans, even in cartoons. Like,
oh
there's
yeah, yeah.
cartoons of Donald Duck as Hitler, and like, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy the lengths will go to make an enemy out of our fellow man.
Also, something that I kind of wanted to note here is like I know in a lot of like our episodes we're usually like kind of upbeat and like happy and like making like a lot of jokes and stuff. I just feel like this episode is kind of is like so dark that that could be not that could be the reason why we're not so like gonna be joking about it because it's such a dark and gruesome topic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is. It is hard to be light and playful with such an evil topic. Like I want to be funny, but I can't, dude.
Yeah,
It's
like I
fucking
want to make
sad.
jokes, but like this is just so depressing.
Anyhow, to continue on the depressing story, using these test subjects, the scientists injected different germs to see how they would react to one another in the human body, in an attempt to create new diseases. It's basically what we do today to make like super forms of diseases that we can
Hmm.
use as a potential deterrent to other countries. It's also kind of funny that that's the premise to a lot of like zombie movies.
Yeah, they
So,
start experimenting to try to like prevent shit, and then they just make the dude.
and then they fuck up. Yeah.
I want a
So,
zombie apocalypse.
another really odd thing about this whole story is referring to their victims as maturas or wooden logs. Japanese scientists would perform different types of procedures, such as vivisections on live victims. Rats infected with the bubonic plague were released onto victims with the intention of infecting the subjects so they could be studied. Unit 731 was a place of torture that was, in the minds of many Unit 731 workers, a necessity to win the war, like I said earlier.
With the wooden logs thing, I was reading that they had set up like a new like facility for testing, and the public was told that it was like local authorities were told that it was for like a lumber mill and wood production and stuff like that, and that's where like the wooden logs came from, so that like in meetings and around outside people, the workers could talk about the prisoners without talking about the prisoners, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. It had to be all hush hush, and they had to be secretive about the horrible, horrible things they were doing.
And for those who don't know, a vivisection is when you perform a surgery on people while they're alive,
Yeah, yeah. They're awake. You
like
can
just to
feel it,
watch their
see how they
intestines.
react to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only did Japanese scientists do vivisections on their test subjects, the scientists in Unit 731 also experimented on their test subjects through pregnancy and enforced labor. Male prisoners infected with syphilis would be told to sexually perform acts on their female prisoners as well as male prisoners in order to see how syphilis spreads within the body. Women were involuntarily impregnated, and experiments were done on them to see how it affected the mother as well as the fetus. Sometimes the mother would be vivisected in order to see how the fetus was developing while she was still fucking alive. That's
Oh,
wild.
like ain't awake, dude. Like
Yeah,
that
she's got
kid,
to watch this.
she's got to watch it, not just watch it and but feel it happen
I don't understand how you can do this kind of thing
to
to
somebody.
anyone.
To
Like,
like especially
I
to
could
like a
never
pregnant woman.
justify it. Yeah, that's literally a mother. Everyone has a mom and a dad. How do you do that to another mother? Like
Yeah.
that's insane to think about.
And it's like I mean, pretty much everyone views pregnant women as like like they how do I put this? Like there's like they're like special. They're um it's like a beautiful thing. It's like something to be honored, you know? And just to like take them and like strap them down and just like cut them open like this is like what has to be going through your brain to just go home after this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. I honestly, I don't
I
think I'd be able to live with myself
I
after
yeah,
doing anything like this. It
that's
would haunt
that's
me for the rest of my life.
that's something that I think about a lot when I was researching this is like after performing these,
Experiments?
experiments on people, how the fuck did they just go like, all right, it's closing time, boys. Let's close up shop and go hit the barn afterward, you know, or like I gotta go home and take the kids to fucking soccer practice. Like, how do you just live it up after that?
It's crazy. Honestly, it reminds me a lot. I'm gonna call out a couple things. I'm not to re-wrap into the Fallout talk, but this is very much like the Enclave and how they experimented on humans
Mm,
after the war. It's in a lot of pop culture. Like you look at Akira and the experimentation on children and the atrocities of what
hmm.
war can do. Like it's so deep rooted. The like that viewpoint of this is wrong, we should not do this, and it just I thought it was not necessarily funny but ironic that it shows up a lot and in so many different forms of media.
It's weird that like I wonder. Okay, so this is something that I was thinking about when you had just said how much it's like brought up is like this is unit 731 is just one section of history. Like it's one event, it's
Yep.
one thing. And I wonder and we know about it, but they attempted to destroy all the evidence of it. I wonder how many more facilities during different wars or different times in history that were out there doing similar things, or if not worse things, if that's even possible, that we just
Oh,
never heard of.
I'm sure it was a ton, dude. It's crazy to think about, but I'm gonna continue on.
Hmm.
Once it was clear that the Japanese were going to lose the war, unit workers destroyed much of the evidence of the experiments. Upon the formal surrender of the Japanese in August of 1945, Unit 731 was officially terminated. The Japanese government did not admit to the atrocities committed by Unit 731 until very recently. The government did not acknowledge the horrors until 1988, and even then, they did not apologize for what had happened. The project was highly secretive, and much of the evidence had been destroyed. In addition, government officials who were aware of what happened in Unit 731 did not make their knowledge known to the public. Because of this lack of acknowledgement, the Chinese government took it upon themselves to spread awareness of the atrocities. In 1982, they established a museum in the same place where Unit 731 operated during the war. Unlike some of the Nazi doctors who conducted experiments on prisoners in concentration camps on inmates, none of these involved with the experiments at Unit 731 were ever punished for their crimes. Instead, after the end of the war, many re entered society and went on to have very successful careers in their fields, not unlike the Nazis who helped them during the Manhattan Project. American forces, chiefly General Douglas MacArthur, decided not to decided not to put workers of Unit 731 on trial. MacArthur granted those involved immunity in exchange for the information that they had gathered while doing their experiments. He believed that pursuing trials against these people would get in the way of the Americans receiving the medical information that had been documented from these experiments. Because of his decision, justice was never served.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
That's just awesome.
So these people just got away scot free after doing all these terrible things. I mean, I hope that a lot of these people were haunted for the rest of their lives and never had a truly happy moment ever again. But it's just that's this happens time and time again. Bad
Did
people are given pardons
Yeah.
in the name of progress to basically further someone else's intentions.
It's just like it's kind it's fucked up to think about that the government officials were just like, okay, all this horrible shit happened, but what's more important to that is it's almost like I'm trying to make a weird connection that the information that these people got that the government took and it not like utilized in a way, it's almost like the Japanese did the dirty work and then the government just wanted its benefit.
Oh, that's exactly it, dude. That's the Americans would not put up with, at least out in the open, they would not put up with American scientists taking in and enslaving people and experimenting on them. That would
Yeah,
potentially cause an uprising. So either they're going to do it behind closed doors or they're going to come in and swoop in and be like, oh, hey, you're doing that already? Okay,
we're just
we're
gonna
going to
wait and
take,
take that.
yeah, we're going to just take it. That is the American mentality towards a fuck ton of things. It's literally what it comes down to with just resources in general and just anything America wants, it will try to get. So it's kind of fucked up. We're the baddies.
And not in like a fun way.
No, no, definitely not in a fun way. We Any country that has as much power as us is bad. I feel like power corrupts overall. It doesn't matter how
Mm.
good of a person you are. If you get too powerful, you will become bad in some way, shape, or form because power like that can only come from greed and can only come from the insatiable hunger to further yourself, even at the detriment of other people.
And like not to get into politics or whatever, but a lot of it, like we were saying earlier, is just shadowed or in like this, you know, idea under this idea of like this is for the benefit of, the people or the benefit of X, Y, and Z. Because it's like played off that it's not, oh, I don't want to do this for my own personal gain. It's for the betterment of us, not me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's for the greater good. That's the whole saying is that you can justify anything if it's for the greater good. But lesser or greater evil, it's still evil. It's just that's how it goes. It doesn't matter what it takes to get to the end result. If you're doing bad things to get to that result,
Mm.
I don't think it's justifiable in the slightest. Like that's it's kind of the sad thing that a lot of human progress has come from doing some terrible things and has come from war. Like we wouldn't have a lot of our modern day technologies if it wasn't for the fact of war and for the fact of humanity needing to be at its most desperate to create some of these ideas.
Hmm.
It's kind of nuts that that's kind of what came of our monkey brains kicking in and going, "Oh, hey, we need to come up with something." And then they come up with
We
some
need
of
to
the
make
most
something now
yeah, yeah,
at any
and
means possible.
at any means possible, and they were scrounging and grabbing everyone and anyone to do their dirty work for them and find a solution.
It's it's fucked up as it says. It's as it sounds like it's beneficial for people in power to have bad people on their payroll. That's kind of what it comes down to, I think.
Oh, big time. That's there are bad people everywhere. You're never going to escape them. You just have to be the good in the world. That's my lesson for today for our listeners. This is all of you. Be good people and treat people well. Don't do vivisections and don't do evil things because that's just fucked up and we don't condone that. And if I found out any of you guys do that, I'm
I'm gonna kick you out of the God Force, that's for sure.
yeah, I'm gonna kick you out the God Force and I'm gonna kick your shins really hard and then
Get
I
them.
don't know, pee on your
Razor
dog.
I'm gonna pee on your dog, and then I'm gonna feed it to you.
Oh, okay, no, now that's too
That's
bad.
actually fucked up. Yeah,
Yeah,
never mind.
that's fucked up, Esden. We're going to the baddies again.
Sorry. Um, Something you had said that, like, you know how a lot of the people pretty much everyone got off in the U.S. trials for these people.
Yes.
They actually 12 of them at least that we know of went to trial in Russia as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so for war crimes, and at least 12 of them did go to prison. However, they were only some of them were sentenced to 25 years, and others were sentenced only for 2 years. But the maximum amount of time that someone served was 7 years.
What? That's
A
insane.
lot of them got out on good behavior.
Oh my goodness. It's probably because they saw how quote unquote valuable they were. And
Mm,
basically it's probably just to make them look good, make the Russians look good and be like, "Hey, they were experimenting on us. We're going to take them in and we're going to make
yeah,
them pay for their crimes." But then secretly they're like, "Oh, hey, you guys are actually
kind of
doing
big
some
brain,
shit
doing some stuff
we
that we want, but don't want to say that we
exactly."
want.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least one of them died in prison, which is cool, and the other one committed in prison. Or sorry, I shouldn't say that. Let me restart. So one of them committed the unalive in prison. Um,
But you can't say
no, you can't say that either. Like I said, like we both said in the beginning, that this is not a happy episode, and I kind of went into a little, chose to go into a little more detail about like what exactly they were doing to people. Um,
yeah, why don't you tell us about that?
but
Tell us
like
about these
horrible
horrible
things that
things as
happen.
in I want to know. Give me
Don't
details.
don't we all? Now these aren't all of the tests that they performed. These are just some of the ones that I thought were pretty uh grotesque, and I thought it would give kind of like a good idea of like how fucked up this was. And if you really feel the need to learn more, that's like a whole thing you can do on your own. Um, so outside of like the sexual harassments and stuff, they would place people into low pressure chambers until their eyeballs popped out of their sockets or their lungs imploded just to see how long it would take.
Holy fuck. That's what happened to the fucking people in the submarine. That's
Yeah,
they basically just
it just
imploded.
imploded. They
Or
put them in like a
well,
fucking vacuum and then they just
no, they exploded. I mean, the people that we're talking about right now, they exploded. Those eyeballs came out. They didn't go in. Those are not any eyeballs. Those are outies.
yeah, I got outies, don't worry about it.
Fuck, dude. I wonder if your eye stem, if that stays intact, you're like, can you just like pop that sucker back in and like
Yeah, you
do
can.
another test?
So, random side tangent. Do you know Johnny Knoxville
Oh yeah, I know Johnny Knoxville from fucking Kick Ass. I mean, not
or
Kick Ass, from
Jackass?
Jackass. There we go. Thank
He
you.
injured his eye muscles in a stunt, and then he sneezed and it popped out of his head, and they put it back in. So if you live, you can stick it back in.
I love it. Good on you.
But I'm guessing. Oh, also, no prisoner has ever been reported to survive or come out of Unit 731. Every
Oh,
single one of them died,
well, then it's just a big murder camp.
pretty
How,
much.
how the fuck did these people not get prosecuted for longer? They killed innocent people.
In a lot too, like
Yeah.
a lot. People were set on fire and burned just to see how long they would survive at different levels of burning. So what they would do is like set people on for a certain amount of time to induce certain levels of like burns, and then see how long it
What
would
the
take them
fuck?
to die just from the burns after the fact.
Are they doing this so they can make like really stupidly powerful flamethrowers or something? Like I feel like
Maybe.
it's common knowledge. Fire bad.
Yeah,
It no good
people,
for people.
when you set someone fire, they're gonna die. Like
Yeah. Why
it's
do you
like,
need to murder a bunch of
why do you
people?
need to test that? Like it's
Yeah,
like a
that's
known
common
fact.
knowledge. I
Yeah,
feel like that we knew that in caveman times, dude. Like
like come
we
on,
that's they're just
like that's just
evil.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't. I feel like you can't just. I mean, you can't justify any of this, but like there is no like that's just dumb.
Yeah, there is no world where that makes sense.
It's like, I wonder if I set this dude on fire if he'll die. Let's test that theory tonight on MythBusters.
Yeah.
Like
And then they actually find out one of them like survives and he's like immune to fire and they're like, "Oh fuck, we
maybe
found
that's
him."
what they. What if that's what they were testing? They were like, all right, this guy fire
I
retardant. We're gonna
I
fucking. That'd
I
be awesome.
mean, it still doesn't justify it, but it would be kind of cool for that guy.
Yeah, I'd be
I
like, oh, I
mean,
didn't know I had
cool for
that.
like half a second, and then they'd probably rip him apart and be like, "How
Let's
does this
dissect him.
work?"
How does this work?
Yeah.
Another test. So they would test people of like frostbite tests. They would freeze people's limbs and then try to revitalize them with heat and fire to see if the limb would still work afterward.
Oh God.
It was said that they would freeze it to the point where you could knock on it and it would sound like hollow wood, and then while they were alive, and then try to thaw it out and see if the body could, rejuvenate the limb, which obviously doesn't work.
Yeah, we're not fucking geckos,
Gods or
dude.
something. Yeah, seriously, we're not trying to regrow grow limbs here.
Yeah, that's not how we work, dude. That's insane.
They even subjected children as young as 3 days old to tests like this.
Oh my God.
They would I read that one of the tests they performed on a really young kid who was like 3 days old, they would take a giant cup, like a bowl of ice and salt, and stick its hands in there just to see what would happen.
These people all
Yeah.
need to burn in hell. Like I hope they are getting done what they did to these people for the rest of eternity in some terrible evil place.
They also did centrifuge testing where they would spin people to see how long they would die until they die. And they
What the
discovered
fuck, dude?
that children have a lower threshold than adults do.
Well, yeah, I feel like that would make sense.
Yeah, like no shit, dude.
A less developed
Human
thing.
being.
Like fuck, you can drop an adult, you can't drop a baby, dude.
Yeah, it's
That's
like, I wonder if this infant child, if we launch him at Mach 10, is going to survive longer than this 40-year-old. like that's
like
just
holy fuck.
duh.
Oh my
Um,
god.
so this is a quote from Yoshimura. He was an army engineer in charge of the frostbite tests. He had said during an interview that he had uh, two naked men put in an area of 40 to 50 degrees below zero, and researchers filmed the entire process until they died. The subjects suffered such agony that they were digging their nails into each other's flesh.
Oh.
Do you think? And that makes me think, first of all, that's on film somewhere. And second, do you think it got to the point they were so cold and so just devastated that they're like, if we rip into each other, one will die faster, and two, like the blood might keep us warm?
No, I think it's more so
Like insanity, maybe?
I no, I don't think it's sanity. I think it's just your well, maybe a little bit of sanity. I feel like it's your brain snapping and then it's literally the animal side coming out and it's like I mean, look at if you put an animal in a corner, what's it going to do? It's going to freak the
It's
fuck
gonna
out.
fight you, yeah.
And that's what humans do too. I mean, we're still animals. We're
Mm.
really smart animals, but we still have that in us. I mean, put in any kind of danger, we're going to fight for survival because that's what we're built to do. That's why we are the alpha predator of the entire world.
Do you think it's like they were trying to almost like wear each other in a way, like how like the Reverend or the Revenant or whatever the fuck that movie's called with Leonardo DiCaprio where he sleeps in that dead horse? Do you think they were trying to do that?
I feel like it was more so probably just them trying to hold on to something. I mean, look at when you're at the doctor's office when they do something that's really going to hurt and you don't have anything to take away the pain, you're going to squeeze on something, you're going to bite down on something, you're
Mhm.
going to tense up those muscles.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
probably like
it's
hugging and then they squeezed so hard that they were like
yeah,
hurting each other. Yeah, that would make sense.
exactly.
They and then along with the frostbite, they developed a resistance index of frostbite by keeping people in freezing water for 5 to 30 minute intervals and testing their body temperature. And another component to these tests were like kind of like the conditions that the people were in. So like they would feed them certain diets or starve them for a certain amount of time to see how that would affect your longevity into being frozen, which I think is such useless information.
It's insane. Like we're not making freeze rays. We're not Mr. Freeze or whatever.
Yeah.
Like what? Japan isn't even that cold. I mean, they got
I mean, they have
snow in certain
mountains, but
areas, but
like, come on.
it's it's not fucking Siberia. You're unless they're
Yeah.
trying to go fight in Russia, which I
I
don't
mean, I
really know what Japan's
maybe.
whole plan was. Maybe they thought, hey, we need to learn this because we're going to move up north and start taking more land up there. Look at how powerful Japan is and how powerful Germany is. With us together, we are unstoppable. So maybe they were just trying to cover all grounds and
Mhm,
make sure they were destroying everyone.
probably. Um, we have gas testing as well. So people
Oh, that's
like
another thing that Germans love. Gas
gas.
testing.
Yeah. Wonder wonder what they did with that kind of knowledge.
Oh, I don't know.
People were split into different categories, and each category was exposed to different gases while wearing different levels of protection. So some were completely naked, and that led up gradually to people who were in like full gas mask, full toxin suits that would protect them. And then the scientists would expose them to these different gases, and then study the effects over the following hours and days until they died. 5 subjects were even forced to drink a solution of water that had mustard gas and Lewisite, Lewisite gas, which are all just
Things you don't want in your
yeah
body.
things that kill you like quickly, and it like they
Well, also, if mustard gas doesn't kill you quickly, it has adverse effects for the rest of your life.
yeah
Like
during
even like American soldiers who had come in contact with mustard gas or other forms of like what is the in Vietnam, what is the Agent Orange? There we go. When
my
Agent Orange was used, it's it affects them for the rest of their life.
my grandpa was exposed to ancient
Agent
Agent
Orange.
Orange, and that's led to a ton of health effects that ended up killing him.
Oh, dude, yeah, it can lead to cancer. It can lead to skin
Heart
disease.
problems.
Everything. It's
Yeah,
literally meant to kill at all costs. It will. It if it doesn't kill you right away,
it
it'll
will.
eventually get you. Yeah,
On during the research, it kind of goes through some of the side effects of the people who were drinking these solutions, and I didn't put them in here because they're pretty grotesque, and I didn't want to like read through them all. But if you want to see like what these people experience, you can find it out there. It's
it's fucked
gross.
up. You probably don't want to know. I didn't want to know. All I did was look up terrible things, and then this is what
Trauma,
I got. Yeah, yeah. I just typed in trauma on
and
Google
this
and
is what
was
I
like,
got.
oh, yeah, this is gonna haunt me for the next couple weeks. This is cool. Thanks, internet.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Japan. God damn, I love your Gundams though. That's cool as hell. Keep up the good work on the giant robots and Godzilla and anime titties. Like, I feel like honestly, all this atrocity, pretty worth it. Look at the things we have now. I can go eat my fucking Japanese candy and get my sushi like
Look at my
like a
ramen
2 blocks
flavored
down.
soda,
Yeah,
all
dude,
because of Unit 731.
the possibilities are endless.
When you torture people for eternity, you get some really great food.
Yeah.
So these tests, the dehydration tests, were so insane to me because I overheat really quickly. And basically, these people were starved to a certain point and then put trapped in a room and then basically fried under these giant heat fans until they died. Here's a quote from Hal Good from Japanese infamous unit 731.
So what you're telling me is they made Kentucky Fried People.
They made Kentucky Fried People. Yeah.
Hmm.
This is where KFC got their seven. Herbs and spices, guys.
Yeah, it's from the Japanese. See, the Japanese made everything, even my Toyota. Fuck, I'm
Damn
a
it, dude.
propagator of evil.
You are supporting evil.
Yeah, if you drive a Toyota, you're bad, or a Honda, any Japanese made product, you're bad.
The quote says, "It was said that a small number of these poor men and women and children who became how do you say that? Marudas also mummified alive in total dehydration experiments. They sweated themselves to death under the heat of several hot, dry fans. At death, the corpses would weigh about one-fifth the normal body weight."
Well, yeah, because you're evaporating the people from inside out.
You're like like imagine what those people looked like at the end. Imagine the smell of just like air fry. They just put them in a giant air fryer. They
I
just air fried these people.
I imagine it would kind of smell like beef jerky, and they'd probably look pretty tasty.
They're
Like
probably
it,
crispy. They're probably
if
nice
you
golden
if
brown.
you don't like if you like chop them up into like bite-sized pieces and you don't make it look like a people, like
Probably wouldn't tell the
do
difference.
yeah, you probably won't be able to tell the difference. You'll be like, oh fuck, this is some good ass meat. Like if it doesn't have a face or arms and legs, you're good, dude. You can sell it to anyone. I mean, fuck, look at our meat industry. How the
How
hell
we
do we
treat
eat?
animals and shit, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like
Like people don't think about it because they don't see it
they
on a
don't see it
day-to-day
happen.
basis.
They're not like exposed to it.
No. So I
Um,
wonder if we'll ever get desperate enough to just start eating people and secretly saying we're not.
I mean, maybe we already are.
You never know, dude.
You never know. Um, Here's another quote from one of the sources that we have here. It's literally just from Wikipedia. Um, One of the members of Unit 731 later recalled that a very sick, unresisting prisoner would be laid on the slab so a line could be inserted into their card, car, cardia. How do I say that?
Let me where are you at?
Right here. Caro, corroded? Corroded?
Yeah, corroded arteries. Yep.
God, I have such a fucking small brain. Carotid arteries. When most of the blood was had been siphoned off and the heart was too weak to pump anymore, a officer in leather boots climbed onto the table and jumped on the victim's chest with enough force to crush the rib cage, whereupon another dollop of blood would spurt into the container.
Jesus Christ, they're doing fucking like circus acts here, like the big seesaw thing on people. That's
Dude,
insane. Oh
they
my god.
they were just like milking these people
Oh
and not
god.
in like a good way.
They're milking their life force quite literally.
Quite literally.
Oh,
I like to think that that dude, whoever was subjected to this, was so out of it that he couldn't feel that anymore.
yeah. I feel like your adrenaline kicks in and then you're at least I would hope so that your adrenaline kicks in and just kind of helps you not feel it. Because
Or
if you
like
felt all that shit, you're fucked, dude. I
the blood loss kind of just made it so it was, you
You
know,
just lost
you just
consciousness.
pass
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
The last little section that I have here talks about the biological testing on China that they did. Um, at least 12 large-scale bioweapon field trials were carried out in at least 11 cities in China were attacked with biological agents, ranging from the bubonic plague, cholera, smallpox, botulism, um, and those were all tested, like you had said earlier, on prisoners, but they were also tested on general public of China.
Well, I'd also go and say that the prisoners were probably general public as well, and they were
Hmm.
still just as innocent.
An attack on a cholera attack on Changde in 1941 reportedly killed about 10,000 people, and which 1,700 of those deaths were ill-prepared Japanese troops. So they didn't even really give a shit about who the people were at the during these attacks. They just
Yeah,
wanted to see what would happen.
they did like a big Taliban whoopsie.
Like, damn, I just killed like all my men.
Yeah, they're like,
Anyway,
fuck it.
so the biotests included infecting agriculture, reservoirs, and water, like wells and etc., with anthrax and plague-carrying fleas, typhoid, cholera, rabbit fever, so on. So they were just infecting like the water supply and foods
Yeah.
in
Yeah, they didn't
China.
give a shit about anyone. Like
No.
they definitely didn't give a shit about their own people. I mean, fuck. Look at Japan. They had kamikaze pilots.
Yeah.
Like enough said.
Yeah, I don't think you have to really explain any further. Yeah. During these attacks, researchers dressed in protective suits and would examine the dying victims. Infected food supplies and clothing were also dropped by airplane into different areas of China. And I just want to like, oh, I'll finish this up for a second, but and then poisoned food and candy was given out to unsuspected victims, and infected fleas, clothing, and other infected supplies encased in bombs were dropped throughout China. And those bombs were made out of like porcelain jars. So you just like toss it over and it'd break open, and then there you go.
I imagine it is just a big porcelain jar.
No, it was. That's exactly what it was. Like they would make these giant porcelain jars full of like fleas and then just walk in somewhere and be like, oops,
How the fuck do you get that many fleas in a porcelain
I
jar?
have no
Like,
idea.
what do fleas crave?
Maybe like they took
Blood.
one or two and then put them in there and then they just bred like crazy and they're like, all right, let's just wait
Yeah, it's
like
just
a
a
month.
bunch of brother sisters. I
Yeah.
mean, bro.
Brother, sister, moms,
Yeah, brother sister mom
incest,
fathers.
incest
Yeah,
fleas. These
that's how you get
attacks,
mutant fleas, dude.
that's what happened. They just inbred a bunch of fleas and then infected the world.
Yeah.
These biotests that we're talking about estimated to have killed at least 400,000 Chinese civilians.
Oh my god.
And something that really fucks me up is the fact that they would dress in protective suits and then examine the dying victims. Could you imagine how fucked up that would be to see like all these people who are just dying from all these crazy diseases and then people just pulling up and like, that's crazy and just not helping these
Yeah.
people?
Yeah. That's insane. It's so fucking evil, dude. Like it makes me think of like during the whole Ebola scare back when we were
Mm,
younger, like
yeah.
watching the scientists go in and basically go study these people, but that's a natural occurrence. This is unnatural.
I don't know, dude.
So yeah.
Just like the visual fucks me up
Yeah, it's
big
insane,
time.
dude. But hey, even though Japan was fucked up, so is America. And I do not condone hating on any Asian culture. We're all
Hmm.
just fucking people. I love you, Japanese, and keep making cool robots and fucking awesome things that I enjoy. My house is literally covered in Japanese artwork, and I have little tiny Japanese cars everywhere. You guys are cool, and you're great people. Your government was just kind of fucked there for a bit. So,
Yeah,
we,
like I don't want this episode to like s come off like we're hating on Japan or we're shitting on anybody specifically. Like Japan and the Japanese people are great, and
yeah, no,
you know,
we're
no,
shitting on everyone. Everyone sucks. Every country, every power sucks. The people
yeah,
that live there, you guys aren't bad.
it's like you can find shit like this for every power in the world if you dig enough. And this is just one of the fucked up ones that we stumbled upon. And uh, something that else that I wanted to point out just now that I found is that the latest information released about Unit 731 was released in 2023. So there's still information that we don't know about that's being released every so
Oh
often.
God, that's insane.
It's
It's probably known and they're just kind of slowly letting it out. The same thing that they're doing with the whole alien thing
alien
going
thing.
on. So,
It's a 69-page document um of soldiers' involvement in the criminal activities since joining 731. So they have it looks like they have like personal allocations and dispatches between Japan's. So basically, they have like a list of names of people who were involved. Isn't that crazy?
that's insane.
And this was like how long ago was it? Like 80 years ago almost, and we're still getting information leaked out about it.
How long ago was World War II?
Well, it ended in 1945.
Oh, so it was 70. Wait, what?
Yeah, almost 80 years ago.
Yeah, almost 80 years ago. Yep. Holy shit, that's crazy. That's crazy to think like my grandparents still have adverse like or
Effects.
not well yeah adverse effects from it. Like they have a whole they probably have a completely different viewpoint on all this stuff, and
It
that's
would be
crazy, dude.
interesting to like interview or talk to somebody who lived during that time to kind of, you know,
I always wanted to,
mm,
honestly. My mom used to work at a nursing home, and I always wanted to like talk to these old fuckers and be like, "Hey, what evil shit have you seen? Tell me your stories.
tell
I
me the
want to know how
secrets of
dark
the
life
war,
was."
damn it.
Yeah, like, but I
What
also
kind of
didn't want to
sketchy
like,
shit were you up to, Grandpa?
yeah, I didn't want to traumatize these old fuckers who are on their deathbed. So I was like, no, I should probably not do that.
Yeah, I mean, if
Even
you're,
though the macabre part of me wanted to know, I wanted to know all this dark shit. I feel like it's human nature to want to know how bad we can be. It's just there's something so fun about learning about evil, fucked up shit because I think it's honestly because it puts into perspective like, hey, at least I'm not doing that bad.
yeah, like
Like, I think
whenever you
that's
feel
really
like
it.
you're a dirt person or you're a dirt bag or a shitty person, just think of Unit 731 and you'll
Yeah.
feel so much better.
Yep. Well,
With that
anyhow, I
being
think
said, yeah, I think that's all we
our
got.
episode.
Oh, I did find a ramen fizzy soda, by the way.
Oh God, no.
It's a thing. You can buy it.
Okay, so we're gonna have to get some, right?
We'll get some. We'll all try it on the pod and give a review.
Yeah, we'll come back soon. Probably not next week because it's gonna take a while. But
We'll pour
yeah,
one out for
we'll pour it out for all these people that got
the
violated
It's
and
so
murdered.
fucked up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you
Well,
guys have fun
thanks for
with this
listening.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry we had to traumatize you like that, but if you thanks for listening. If you liked it, leave us a rating.
Yeah.
Good luck for the rest of your day. Listen to
Yeah.
that. And
Hey, be good to people. We love
yeah,
you and no experimenting on people, especially without their consent. Consent is key, and that goes for everything.
peace.